Drop it.
See if you can outrun them. No, they're all collapsing on you.
Airstrike online.
Alright, well shit, we can capitalize if they're going towards him.
Yeah, take advantage of it.
Yeah, they're all chasing the squirrel, so let's push into Echo 6, Delta 6.
Exactly, let's get some ground.
Give him the G.
Nothing on site, Delta 6. They're all pushing up towards the back into Charlie 5, Delta 5. Got a Mad Cat inbound, Charlie 5.
I'm a brawler, so early on the best I can do is share armor. But later on, get a shot.
We got a Battlemaster. We got a Battlemaster in the pit right here. If we can get all guns on him.
Okay. Is that my range? Okay,
They're split. They're very split, actually.
Yes, they are.
Gotta look for my back. There's levels.
Yep. G7. Down.
Pocket gold.
Gold.
Pocket gold.
Let's push up into the pocket, fellas. Delta 6. Take out the Grey Death. Don't get caught here, fellas. Let's get around either Delta 6 or push up into the fortress there.
Target destroyed.
I'm taking the Delta 6, Delta 5 route. I'm going to swing around if anyone can give support.
Yeah,
Yeah,
moving around E7.
Target acquired.
Watch your
Got a big boy right here, Indigo, slip near.
Got about almost a whole lance over here in E6. Now there is a whole lance. Heavies and assaults.
Alright, push up into the bowl. We're going to get a flank on them and take out these assaults.
Captured.
Take them out, fellas. Let's go. Push into the fortress.
Target destroyed.
Focus Bravo.
Target destroyed.
Focus Juliet.
Acquired. All camera deployed. Target destroyed.
Nice work, fellas.
New target.
Focus Charlie. Heb and Jag.
Target destroyed. Target
Echo behind us. Timberwolf.
destroyed.
Nice. Focus Foxtrot, Shadowcat.
Those are realistic towers.
Got a Jenner up on Delta 7. That's our last target. He's got... He's up in Delta 7. He's behind us. Jenner. Nice work, fellas. Thanks, fellas. Nice job dropping with you. Alrighty guys, welcome back to the Mech Lab, where we're going to go through the details of the build on this guy I have in front of me, the Dragon 5N. And I know you guys might be thinking to yourselves, well, why are you taking a Dragon out there on the battlefield? Like, you know, I've spoken about the Dragon before, and it's just not one of those mechs that on a given notice that I would willingly go out there on the battlefield with. So why now? Why decide to give this guy a try? You know, considering the elongated torso, the low-mounted arms, it just doesn't seem like a mech that you could really use beneficially out there on the battlefield. And yes, you know, it's not my #1 choice, especially when you're thinking about a 60-ton heavy for the Inner Sphere. I mean, there are plenty of other options in the Inner Sphere and the clan side of things for the heavy class that are much more suitable to take out there on the battlefield, that can deal that damage, deal those punches, deal a little, and be a little bit more suitable for you guys out there on the battlefield. But that doesn't mean that you can't show even some of these rarities on the battlefield a little bit of love, and just try and make them work. Challenge yourself. And that was really why I decided to do this video, is I wanted to challenge myself. You guys have seen the metas, you've seen what works, you know how these competitive players and even, you know, casual players know how to build their mechs now in order to be competitive, even in the pug queue. You know, just trying to get as good of a score as they possibly can, get the most kills, get a great kill KDR. And now I just said, you know what, I'm going to challenge myself and at least show that even though these mechs might not be the optimal choice, the #1 choice, that you can still compete with them. And you might have to adapt your role and switch them up a little bit. But to put myself out of my comfort zone, I knew I was taking a risk in making this video, because obviously it might not be, you know, the epic, fantastic, unbelievable, crazy gameplay that you guys are used to seeing. But I just wanted to at least show that you guys, that I'm stepping out of my comfort zone here. I'm taking out a mech that I really have zero familiarity with, and just wanting to make it work. I grinded out the EXP for it, the GXP and XP for it, and I did master it so that you guys could see how it performs on an optimal level with all the other mechs that you see out there on the battlefield that are at an optimal level once they are mastered. So, you know, just sticking to the theme, at least in that sense, where, you know, keeping consistency with the videos. I do want to show you guys optimal performance in case you decide to invest in them for yourselves and see how they perform on this type of level. So, you know, there are a couple things going on with this video. Again, it was a challenge, and I wanted to put myself out there and really not hold back in trying to make something work that even I can admit to not being very familiar with. And so that's why I decided to go with the Dragon 5N. At least then I knew, you know, in taking into consideration what this guy has to offer, might not be the most optimal choice, but I'm still going to try and make what I want to do with it work out there on the battlefield. So let's check out the overview, the stats on this guy. And what he has to offer is a 3 ballistics, 2 energy, 1 missile, 1 AMS, and 0 ECM. Now, the new system isn't yet in the game, so we do still have this laundry list of quirks to go through. The acceleration, deceleration rates, armor base bonuses. That is all over this mech, and that is definitely a selling point for the Dragon. You know, it doesn't have a tremendous amount of boating capability for one type of weapon or another, but it does have a lot of quirks to balance it even a little slightly towards being equal to, you know, some of these meta builds and meta mechs that you're seeing out there on the battlefield. It does have the torso turn angle and rate, or yaw bonuses. Ballistic range bonus 15%. Ballistic velocity 15%. Ballistic cooldown 10%. UAC jam chance of 40%. So it's reducing the jam chance by 40%. Energy cooldown bonus 15%, laser duration 15%, and UAC 5 cooldown of 15% as well. So if I use the UAC 5s, I would actually cater to the UAC jam chance, all the ballistic, you know, the general ballistic quirks, and the UAC 5 cooldown, which would stack to around 25%. But what I also thought about was, hey, you know, if I did UAC 5s on here, I can't really fit much else. You know, I can't even fit 2. You know, if I'm stripping off all this stuff to free up some slots, free up some tonnage, free up everything, I'm showing you guys what this mech would have looked like, and you can only fit 1 UAC 5 there. You know, yes, the quirk is there. It's fantastic. You can make it work and really amplify the usage of that UAC 5, but it's 1 ballistic hardpoint. Then all you would have left to work with is 1 missile hardpoint and 2 energy hardpoints. Not really doing much for you. So unless you want to put a huge engine in there, and with this bigger, bulkier, kind of crazy looking mech, you're kind of putting yourself at a disadvantage because it doesn't have that same kind of capability as the other heavies out there on the battlefield. So what I decided to do is I did want to take advantage of every hardpoint this mech had to offer. And you already saw what the loadout was, but that's the reason why I wanted to go with the UAC 2s. Fill out all those ballistic hardpoints, use up some of that tonnage for some meatiness, for some tankiness, some constant suppression and amplification damage. So, you know, it might not be a tremendous alpha, it might not be a tremendous, amount of damage even putting down over time, but it still does the job, and it still does its job in what I wanted it to do in scaring your opponents. It's an intimidation factor. No one likes getting hit in the cockpit with ballistics, constant, suppression fire from ballistics. Cooldown time is fastest for the AC-2s, apart from getting plagued with machine gun fire. And then you also have the SRM-6 as a backup weapon. Again, another weapon to rattle the cockpit a little bit and get your opponents all discombobulated and confused and try and retain focus on you. And then you follow up with some small pulse lasers, which again, they realize that you were constantly putting that fire down into them. They don't have time to react. They don't have time to look down on their little map that shows them, exactly what areas of the mech are crit, or they don't have time to look up and see what my loadout is unless they got targeting information ahead of time. So you have all this stuff that kind of builds into my understanding, really, of how the dragons can be played, and maybe even should be played in some capacities. So, I was taking a stab here and just trying to work with it. So that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that, if I was going to work with it, I have to give it a fair shot and see what we could come up with. So as you guys saw, we have the AC-2s. We have the SRM-6 that we're putting in the center torso. We cannot do SRM-6 with Artemis because of the fact that you need a third slot in order to do that. And the SRM-4 with Artemis, I could have done that, but why not do an SRM-6 when you have the capability to do so? It's only 1 missile hardpoint. I knew I was using 1.5 tons of ammo. The spread might be a little bigger, but at the same point, the focus that I had with this mech is that intimidation factor of constant damage. I'm using all weapons that really generate quick cooldown times and work well in sequence with each other. So with those two energy hardpoints in the left arm, I decided to go with small pulse lasers. I wanted to keep this mech as heat efficient as possible so that you can keep churning through, each of your weapon hardpoints and just, again, amplify that damage over and over and over again. So I did put 4 tons of ammo. That gives me 300 shots, as you guys saw, and then 1.5 tons of SRM ammo with only 1 missile hardpoint. You know, you're probably never going to run out of ammo for the SRM if you're using SRMs. If you decide to go LRMs, that's entirely up to you. That hardpoint is actually located right here on the tip of the nose, so just keep that in mind as well. I'm using the small pulses. Obviously, they are fast. They cool down pretty quickly. They can add that little bit of a stab, a little bit of a poke, especially when you are face tanking your opponents. We have the armor to get up close. So as you can see, we have 20 in the right arm, 10 in the left arm, 16 in each torsos, 16 in the center torso. So, you know, it just keeps adding to what, you know, I thought or think this mech should be used out there on the battlefield for. 60 out of 60 tons, 76 out of 78 slots, 394 out of 402 armor. The only place I took armor out of was the head, which is located way up top. So that is not really ever going to be the focal point if you're in a dragon. It's always this bulky, crazy, you know, sticking out, protruding, saying hit me, hit me, hit me to your opponent's torso. So just take that into consideration. That's why I took the 8 hard points out of there, and that was how I was able to fit this extra double heatsink in the engine. I placed an XL300 in there. It has a 1.47 heat management ratio with 12 double heatsinks. 26.9 is the alpha. So again, it's not a huge alpha, but the key here is constant DPS. That is the name of the game: heat efficiency and constant DPS. 87.1 kph to work with that XL300 engine being mastered with speed tweak and everything. No jump jet capability. That's it for the summary on the mech. Let's check out the modules real quick so we can get back out on the battlefield. This mech does have 2 slots for mech modules and weapon modules, including this, you know, choice that you have. So you can either have 2 or 3, depending on which way you'd rather go. I decided to go with 3 mech modules and 2 weapon modules. I went with advanced seismic sensor, target info gathering, and radar deprivation for my 3 mech modules. And then there is no AC2 cooldown. Otherwise, I would have bulked up, you know, that triple AC2 cannon in the right arm. So I decided to go with AC2 range for constant suppression fire from longer distances, and then the small pulse laser cooldown level 5. So that will stack on top of the was it the 10% bonus? I believe I said. Yeah, no, 15% bonus on the energy cooldown. So that'll give another 12% there, so 27% cooldown on those small pulse lasers, which already cool down pretty quickly. So again, name of the game here, common theme, constant DPS. That's what we're looking for. So then with the consumables, again, just in case you do, you know, keep churning through that ammo, you keep making those alpha strikes, building up that heat, going to use that cool shot to get us back to a more reasonable level. Improved airstrike, again, tactical or intentional. That's I'm going to leave it at that. I talk about it all the time. Tactical, getting yourself into a better position. Intentional, putting damage down on large groups of enemies that are clumped together, you know, if they're balled up, essentially. But that's going to do it for the overview on this guy, the Dragon 5N. It was a challenge, I know, not only for myself, but then, you know, a couple of you mentioned take out something that you're not really good with, that you really haven't given the time of day, and try and make it work. I kind of want to see what you come up with, and this is intentionally that video. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys like the build, and you know, if you do decide to give the Dragons a try, I know there are some pilots that are like those niche pilots that really are good with these crazy mechs, because no one really knows how to A, deal with them, and A, how to use them if you're the pilot of them, because they are such rarities out there on the battlefield. So let's hop back into the queue and show what the potential is on this guy that I have in front of you, the Dragon 5N. Here we go. Alrighty guys, welcome to the second round of gameplay that's going to take place on Crimson Strait. Now, I know that I did a drop call for the first round just to mix it up a little bit, but we're back to the high-intensity commentary that you guys are used to. So we're going into this round a couple minutes in here, and I'm just letting the rest of the team know we gotta push through the tunnel. We have the support, we have the tonnage. If we can take the tunnel, we might just solidify this round very early on. And right in front of us, they do have a light, but he's retreating, and that completely leaves this direwolf in the tunnel by himself. Cord center torso, and he gets taken out. So 100 tons off the battlefield very early on for our opponents. We're going to peek into the side tunnel. A lot of fire coming in. They have that light that's still there, an Atlas and a Supernova, but we also have some support here, and this Atlas is just absorbing a tremendous amount of damage, and with a couple more shots, we actually got the kill, but he blocked the tunnel from the rest of his team being able to help him out, so he gets taken out as well. Another 100 tons down. This Supernova is coming in from the side of our screen here, and he's just going to get swarmed by my entire team, cutting off at least half of his weapons there, and finally he goes down as well. We did come out of the side tunnel, so that does put us in kind of an awkward position here, because they could have easily focused up and surrounded us, but it looks like a majority of their team is kind of scattered amongst the buildings on top of the platform and even back by the mountain. But what we're going to do here is we're going to focus up on this Mad Dog. It looks like he might have some company with him. I believe it's a linebacker, so we're going to focus up on both of these guys. I do have some support. I'm keeping my eye on the mini-map. This linebacker we do have to be careful of because he is a little quick, does have a pretty solid close-range loadout. We're just constantly putting some damage into this guy. He did overheat, so we're putting a tremendous amount of damage into him now, and a majority of his loadout is taken out, but it looks like he's trying to retreat, so we're going to try and get behind him. We do have some light support there, but his teammate actually takes him out, so thank you, buddy. You got the final kill on him for us, and now we're going to focus up on this Mad Dog, weak right torso. Take that out. That's half of his loadout right there, and we get the kill. Wait, what the heck was that? It was a floating missile. And I ran into it, so it actually did damage. That was a very weird glitch. But now we're going to focus up on this adder. We have to change targets really quick, retain our focus here, and we do help get that adder down. So now it's just a matter of cleanup. It looks like we have 2 opponents left between that Warhawk that we know is over here and maybe one other. Yeah, checking the score, there are 2 left, so it's that Warhawk. He just got taken out, so only 1 opponent left, and once we take him out, all we need is one of our friendlies to be standing within that radius of the beacon. So we're going to hop up on top of the platform, just scanning the area just in case any of them are within range. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back through the tunnel because of the fact I'm looking up at the timer there, and our timer isn't going down at all, which means that they are actually within the range of that circle, and now it's going down. So they stepped out of the circle, but that still means that they are close. They are within range. My friend just spotted the enemy, and he's actually back outside the tunnel. So now I'm going to try and help out and get this guy down as quick as we possibly can. My entire team is forming up on this guy, and just a couple quick shots, and that is going to take him out and end the round. So a great final round of gameplay for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It really is a lot of fun to play. I mean, yes, the dragons are definitely bulky, but that doesn't mean that you can't use them on the battlefield. Mess around with them, just have some fun, see if it works. 2 kills, 5 assists, 660 damage with 5 components destroyed. Checking out the scores here, across the board, we were pretty even for our team. I mean, really only one person did less than 100 damage, but still overall great team effort. We all got together, pushed into the tunnel, pushed out of the tunnel, pretty much overwhelmed them to the point where they couldn't even have the opportunity to regroup even if they wanted to. So a great round of gameplay. That's going to do it, though, for this episode of Mech Warrior Online. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, check out the links in the description, including the Smurfy link, in case you do decide to get this mech and build it out the same way for yourselves. I want to thank you guys so much for all the support. I really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I do look forward to seeing you all on the next one. Take care, guys.